Hello.
No, Phil.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just panicking getting back in time, having given my son a lift to Taekwondo. So here I am, just in time. The
Perfect.
breath. So what's going on with you? How you getting on?
Um, so the last 2 weeks I have a really complicated situation because I have reduced a lot the water consumption just following the Sophia Clemens suggestion. But I feel that I don't know, maybe I was just drinking just so small amount of water. Could be. But I got constipation and really bad constipation, like 10 days, something like that. And yeah, it produced a lot of pain. At the end, what I have done is just eating a lot of fat and also water. And I could go to the bath. It has happened like 5 to 6 days before. Um, so what I have done from that point, it was the last Monday, I would say. So what I have been doing is just drinking more water. So I used to drink like maybe less than a liter or something like that. But now I am just drinking like almost 3 liters, just with everything that I consume in the day. And it seems that it is better for me. So it seems that I feel more energized. I feel better. I could go, I don't have such a bad, terrible constipation. Um, what else I can tell you? I could support better the fat when I drink more water compared when I don't drink enough water. And also I am consuming a bit more of salt. So I'm not sure if all of them are, because I read also that the bilis from the liver, I'm not sure how to pronounce in English, uh, is made of water and salt. So yeah, I am not sure if there were also a problem with that.
Well, all I'd say is that if you're um the only caveat I put out about that, about drinking too much water, is getting fooled into the idea that we need to drink a hell of a lot of water. Right? So listen to your body.
That's the the difficult part for me because it is the thirst sentiment is not so easy just to capture because sometimes I feel that is thirsty, but it has happened that it was just because I was hungry. So yeah, I was not so get used to that. So I think that that's the issue. But yeah, it is what is working right now for me. But yeah, I totally get what your point, but it hasn't worked for me.
Well, yeah, I get that, but address thirst first, right? What do we need? We need air first, and then we need water, and then we need food in order of priority.
Yeah.
So if you think, am I thirsty or hungry? You're probably thirsty.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not about drinking absolutely no water. I mean, you get people like Laszlo Boros, the deuterium researcher, my friend who is also a 1962 Gemini drummer, but he's utterly brilliant. And he drinks like one small cup of water a day and a load of fat to hydrate. But that's because he's totally focused on the issue of deuterium and that high fat promotes the production of deuterium depleted water in the cells. And so he's hydrating himself. But if that system hasn't kicked online yet, don't worry about it too much if you're thirsty. In fact, the first thing I thought of actually when I sat down here and you said, oh, about water, I'm thinking, I've actually got some water here and I'm really thirsty. I'm going to drink it in a minute, which seems daft after what you've said. But yeah, whatever balances your body out. If you're eating and it's comfortable and you're not thirsty and you're not going 10 days without a poo, you're doing something right. Yeah? Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. The only thing that's important, I think, is to keep the fat ratios right with the protein. Well, with the lean meat. And so
Yeah,
if you're doing that, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, drink when you're thirsty, stop when you're not thirsty anymore.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that part has been a bit difficult sometimes because sometimes getting a good piece of meat that is, for instance, grass-fed is costly here in US. So, for instance, if you wanted to get beef, just a pound, it is around a good piece of meat. So, a New York strip is like $40 or something around that. But yeah, what I am doing right now is just eating, for instance, ground meat or probably also other type of cuts, for instance, short ribs. Yeah, and the pound is between 10 and 16. So it's also pasteurized, but yeah, it's not the other ones. But the issue is that some cuts that are in the lower price doesn't have too many fat. And sometimes adding the fat is not so the flavor of everything
I know.
changes.
I know.
And sometimes I even tell to my wife like I don't want it to eat. It's just too difficult. It's just a piece of meat there with a top of fat at the top. What I'm doing right now, and it seems that it's working, is I am eating more short ribs but in soup. So I'm preparing the brown bowl, both brown. Oh, the other way around, whatever it is, brown both. Sorry. Um, and I'm doing just with short ribs, just in water and it seems that it's working. It's easier. I am not sure if it's because of the water content or something like that, but yeah, I don't. When I just consume a lot of fat, sometimes I get runnings, so I have to go to the bath as soon as I can. So yeah, but what I am,
Try not to use the bath. Try to use the toilet. You get in less trouble with your wife.
okay. Um,
Yeah, man, I know what you mean, but it's funny because in the UK, usually the cheaper cuts are the ones with the most fat because people won't
Incredible.
buy them because they know it causes heart disease. So those are the cheaper cuts we have here, and just anything you can get with all the connective tissue stuff like that, put it in a slow cooker. Have you got a slow cooker? Excuse me while I
Yes.
just load myself up with deuterium while you answer. I'm really thirsty.
You have said several times before, it's just a question. What is the deuterium thing? So I am not, yeah, I haven't, I just have heard about this one from you, so, but I am not sure what is it. And it's a metal, yeah? Or what is it? Or what is the
Deuterium,
problem with it?
deuterium is an extra isotope on the hydrogen molecule, I think.
Okay.
Have I got that right? I'm
Yeah,
terrible at
yeah, yeah.
science. I'm just a drummer. However, that creates D2O rather than H2O, which is heavy water. So in the water that we drink, most of the water we drink is about 155 parts per million deuterium on this planet, whatever shape it is. Now, if you go into the sort of higher places, like sort of places where they're drinking glacial water or Antarctica or whatever, it's more like 80 parts per million. And I believe that's probably why people who go to Antarctica on research expeditions tend to lose all their ailments. And people who live in high altitudes tend to live longer. Now, deuterium, when it gets, it doesn't sound much of a difference between 80 and 155 parts per million. But when it gets up to about 155, you you are taking in enough to block up the mitochondria, the little nanomotors in the mitochondria. Imagine a really fat guy trying to get through a turnstile. it's not only him who gets stuck, but all the thin guys afterwards, right? Because they can't get past him. And that's kind of what happens with high deuterium foods and water in the cell. So when the nanomotors blow up and they're not working so well, this creates unusual cell replication, read autoimmunity, cancer, all that kind of thing.
Mm,
So that's why a load of people now seem to be reversing cancer on very low deuterium water. Now, deuterium
oh,
depleted water is very expensive.
got it.
And, you can get it down to 10 parts per million or something, but it's very expensive. And maybe if you've got a load of money and you've got pancreatic cancer, it's worth it. But if you eat very high fat, that is the lowest deuterium food that you could possibly get. And so you're not piling in any more deuterium, so I wouldn't even worry about the deuterium content in the water because most people are taking in massive amounts of deuterium, which is really high in foods such as grains, all the processed foods. Fruit is very high in deuterium. That's why nature gives it to us in the late summer and autumn when the sun's out and the sun depletes deuterium. Watching blue light all night stops the body depleting deuterium. So, again, it's all down to these ancestral disconnects. So that's one of the main reasons for not drinking too much water because apart from it pulls out the minerals, but it also loads you up with deuterium. There we
Got
go.
it. Thank you. Thank you.
But
Okay,
if you
got
look at
it.
Laszlo Boros, or I have an interview with Gabor Szomlai on my YouTube channel. But the two of those are pretty much the leading deuterium researchers. When I repost this, I'll put the links up to some stuff from them, and you can understand about deuterium. And I think it's a really interesting subject because if people stopped listening to diet gurus and just looked at anthropology, plant toxins, and deuterium, they'd have a really good idea of why they're doing what they're doing, going carnivore, and not lose confidence in it. It's an amazing lens to look at diet and water intake from. It's the deuterium angle.
Yeah.
There we go. Did
Thank,
I waffle on too much? I tried to make it as short as possible. That's
thank you. Thank you.
deuterium.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
better understand right now. So yeah, this is my 125th day of, sorry, 127th day of carnivore and my 74th day of PKD. I have been not taking the medication, the pill, for almost 25 days now. So my question in that sense is, okay, so none of the hyperthyroidism comes again. So I'm just right now like normal, if you will. But yeah, the just the inflammation of the eyes and the thyroid is still there. But I suppose that it will take maybe 1 or 2 years just to come out of the normal
You
size.
you might not see it, but your eyes are better than when I first spoke to you.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You might not see it. If you popped up now and said I have Graves' disease, I wouldn't guess. When
Perfect.
I first saw you, I would have guessed.
Wonderful. Okay, right, got it. Thank you.
There you go. It's the old thing of like the auntie who doesn't see the nephew or niece for a long time, and then they go, "My, haven't you grown?" But the parents
Yeah,
don't know.
perfect.
But yeah,
Perfect.
your
Thank you.
eyes look absolutely fine to me now, man. There's got to be some reduction of even the effects of the inflammation in there.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope so.
you look great,
S-
man.
Thank you. And thank you for everything. So one question that I have for you is, okay, another question, sorry. So two questions about, one is X, when to reintroduce the X. Yeah, I can wait. It's okay, but I just wanted to know that. And the second that is what hesitate more to me is about the pork. Well, because I know that we need the vitamin B1, but the issue, yeah, and we don't have too much vitamin B1 in all the other nutrients. So what are you doing right now? Because as far as I understand, you don't consume too much pork nowadays because, yeah, you cannot tolerate. So how are you getting the enough B1? Because I know, for instance, for Sophia, this is not a problem because she eats almost everything that she eats is just pork. So yeah, but what about you? Or
Well, the pork is different there, as I've mentioned.
yeah,
It's Magalitsa pork in Hungary, so it's much better fat. It is higher in B1, but there's plenty in ruminant meat. Just because everybody says it's okay, it's high in pork, but there can be other issues with that. I can actually take pork now, no problem. I don't
oh,
eat it that much. It's all I eat it is my son eats a load of bacon and a load of pork belly, which is fine by me. And so when he has pork belly, it's so delicious. I can't resist a mouthful or two when I've taken it out the oven,
it's
right?
impossible.
And
Yeah,
that's it. I don't cook it for myself. And then he often has bacon and burgers in the morning before he goes to school. And if he leaves any bacon, I might just eat it before I
okay,
wash the plate up or something. But I don't cook it as a meal for myself. But a while ago, that would have been an issue for me. I would have felt it within 24 hours. I don't now. But the reintroducing of food is a very personal thing. So egg yolks also, I don't have a problem with, like, it doesn't affect my joints or anything. It gives me a little bit of heartburn, which tells me I'm not quite ready for them yet. Egg whites, no good at all. But I've felt that since I was a kid. I've always hated egg whites and loved egg yolks. So I never,
right.
I always thought there was something wrong with them. Horrible rubbery things. But I don't know. If you just listen to your body while you're reintroducing things, the secret to reintroducing things is do it one at a time. Okay?
One at a
Do
time.
it, do
Okay,
it, do it, a little bit here and there for a week and see how you feel. Don't confuse it. I spent
perfect,
5 years wasting time in reintroducing 8 or 9 things a week, and you never know where you are, you know.
perfect. Sounds
But
like
if you reintroduce some pork one week and then some egg yolks the other week and see how you feel, you know.
perfect.
But I
Okay,
I I think from how you look, you're making amazing progress.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
honestly, I wouldn't stress too much about it. If you reintroduce some egg yolks at this stage, will your eyes suddenly bug out like Marty Feldman? I doubt it.
I know, I know. Okay, the pork that I can get here is pasture raised, if you wanted to call it. And the diet that the pork receive are, apart from whatever they can just get on the pasture, they can get barley, peas, oats, and roasted beans. They are not consuming, not,
Hang on.
yeah,
Barley and piss.
yeah, I am not sure. It's the best one that I can get
Or peas.
because, oh,
What are we
I'm
talking
pretty,
about? Some kind of plant
uh,
food.
uh,
No, look, if they're eating grains, they're not fed right. They should be eating
oh, okay.
root vegetables and truffles and stuff.
Okay, no, it's
Sorry, yeah, I've
impossible.
got you. Peas and
Nice.
barley. Sorry, I'm taking the piss here. Sorry, that's another. No, I shouldn't really say
Peace
that.
and barley. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
peas
no,
and barley.
it's the only one that I can get here on years because I have research on everything here on all the states, and no, every, all of them just add this diet to the pork. So yeah,
Well,
so I
pigs will eat
think
anything, right? Pigs will eat anything. I mean, have you got a high population of gangsters in where you live? Because quite a lot of the time, gangsters sort of feed dead bodies to pigs, when they murder somebody. So if you can, if you can get the pigs that are kind of fed by gangster bodies, no, I'm joking. So I don't know, man. Just
yeah, no,
as few grains as possible for any kind of animal.
perfect,
Because
perfect.
well, you imagine them snuffling around in the forest. What are they going to eat? They're going to snuffle around. They're going to find a few roots. They're going to find truffles. They're going to find that kind of thing. They're going to find some fruit fallen on the ground. So if you find pigs that have been fed on that, like, fruit and turnips and truffles and things like that, it's amazing. But it's very, very rare.
What
So
about you there in UK? Are
It's
you
rubbish.
a it's rubbish. Okay.
It's
Okay.
rubbish.
Okay. 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 Okay.
I remember Zofia
Got it.
saying, "Yeah, eat a load of pork. It's got a great fatty acid profile." And then I said, "Seriously, in England, would you eat it?" And she went, "Yeah, probably not."
Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
But
Thank you,
it's
Phil.
okay, if you're healthy, it's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Just when
Okay.
you're
Got it.
healing.
When you're
But
healing.
it's
Okay.
cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome. Ingrid, great to see you. And we've just chatted about Spain and stuff.
Hi, how are you? Nice meeting you.
You too. And Ingrid's
I
coming
don't
to
know if you
Spain.
remember. I'm sorry?
You're coming to Spain, right?
Yes, for sure. With
So
the
listen, everybody else, please come to Spain. The rooms are selling fast. Ingrid's just sneaked in with one, so come on, guys. I want to meet you all.
remember I canceled last year because I got sick, but I watched the carnivore, different doctors, to learn recipes and this and that. And I came to carnivore due to health issues after COVID. I ended up with hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. So throughout my whole life, I thought I was eating healthy, lots of fruits and vegetables. Rarely I had any protein because I didn't know.
Mm.
To me, it was easier, fruits and vegetables. And then when I was diagnosed with this, I went vegan for a whole year.
Oh,
And
well
then I got
done.
worse.
Yeah.
So I came back to carnivore. Yeah, so I'm happy. I'm still learning. I have a lot to learn. So
And I'm sure you're on the right track. It's really, it's not so much to learn, it's so much to unlearn. 'Cause
yeah, that's true.
everything is actually really
Yes.
simple. It's just get the confidence to unlearn everything we've been told. But with Hashimoto's, yeah, I mean,
Well,
this is less of an issue, honestly, than I'm because he puts his name up like that. I'm just going to call him that because it's ridiculous. Joag, right?
mhm.
That's that's less of an issue than he's been facing, which is the hyperthyroidism, which is a Graves' disease. So,
Uh-huh.
Hashimoto's and stuff balances out a lot quicker. You'll be
Well,
fine.
the biggest problem is, here in the United States, at least for my doctors, from 2000 and what is it, 2021, when I was diagnosed, they wanted to give me medicine. And before I even knew about carnivore, I'm like, no, I don't do shots, I don't do
Good.
medicine, period.
Nice.
And they're like, you have to. I'm like, no, I don't. So I fought it for 4 years until last February because my levels were going up again. And I reluctantly taking only 25 mcg of levothyroxine. This is temporary. And I
Yeah.
told them that this is temporary. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
frustrating because all they want to do is give you medicine. And personally, I don't want it. I know it's better ways to heal yourself. So I'm very stubborn, and I said no. So
Very wise. Very wise. I love it. Yeah. No, they just
yeah,
fearmonger you into it. And yeah, yeah, very wise. Well, you say,
yeah.
is my Hashimoto's due to a deficiency in levothyroxine? That always annoys them. And of course it isn't because nobody takes it, right? Until they get told that. And so, if you've broken a bone, definitely go to the hospital, but for anything chronic,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's like they don't take you seriously, I guess that's how I felt. Like, oh, it's your age or this. And I'm like, because I used to run every day, I mean, 8 miles, very active. And when I was diagnosed, I gained 40 pounds. And I don't have cravings. I don't do sugar. I don't do none of that. And I have the weight, 40 pounds extra.
Mm.
So, but a little by little, I know it takes time. It doesn't happen from one day to the next. So I came back again.
Well, this is this is the frustrating thing for women, really, because when you go carnivore, I've seen a load of couples do it, and the weight just falls off. It's real easy.
Yeah.
And the woman's going, what the hell? Why doesn't that happen to me? But
Yep.
sadly, you women are much more complex hormonal creatures than men are. And so
Yeah.
it's more difficult to lose, at least, not to hit plateaus in weight loss. But it does happen. I mean, the first thing is to make sure that you are actually carnivore and you're not taking in any dairy, because that can often cause plateaus in losing weight. And if you until you get the thyroid balanced with hypothyroidism with your Hashimoto's, that can make it very difficult to lose weight. But just rest assured that there's loads of other good things happening in the body before that happens, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really happy. And that I
Yeah.
will be there in Spain. I'm so excited.
So am I. I can't wait to get
With
back.
Pamela.
Yeah. With
Thank you
what?
for connecting us. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. No, it was lucky that when you asked for a shared room that there was somebody going, you know. It
She's
seems to
from
work out that way. I
Croatia.
think I think nature kind of supports that particular event. It's so cool. And you'll
I
love it.
can't wait. I'm so excited.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I've got a couple of surprises actually, which I can't announce now of
Wonderful.
who might be coming along as well. So you just never know who's coming
Oh,
to that one.
okay.
There could be
Okay.
some very, very cool ones and some very interesting news that I'm almost bursting to get out about what happened last year. And I can't say it. And who's coming next year.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, it's going to be fun. So everyone, get out there. It's going to be brilliant. Want to meet you all. Rebecca, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello, Rebecca. Haven't seen you here before. Rebecca, tell me you're not a bot sent from vegan world to spy on us. Anyway, jump in when you want. Joni, good to see you. And we're chatting tomorrow anyway, aren't we? So, you know,
Yeah, how's it going?
yeah. Yeah, I
I'd love
can't.
to I'd love to come to Spain, but my fiance and I we're gonna go to meet stock in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, in whatever early May. So that will be pretty exciting. But I think Spain would be that might be a future bucket list thing.
No, you've got to. A meat stock, I can't say against it. I know the guy who organizes it and everything, but I've heard from some of the speakers who went there that it was absolute chaos. They didn't get fed anything right. They didn't get, I mean, it's great because there's loads of social interaction there and whatever. But the difference between meat stock, with loads of speakers in Spain is that it's also a real holiday. You just get to hang out. And there's like one talk in the morning, one talk in the afternoon. You get to really hang out with the speakers all week. There's only like 60 of us or so. So
Yeah.
it is chaos and the pranks that Dr. Abs and I play on each other. He actually got threatened by the medical board for our videos recently that we were putting up called Nutrition News, and we were just acting like real little babies and taking the piss out of everything. And he got threatened by some medical board. He said, "You've got to take those down, otherwise you're going to be disciplined." And that was a shame. But I've done a podcast with him actually. It's going to be out in maybe today or tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. But I tell you, I can't. I have so much respect for that guy. I mean, he's younger than my eldest son. He's made an enormous amount of money with just how amazingly clever he is with all of this stuff. And yet, what a heart. And he just helps so many people out. And just check out the podcast. He's absolutely lovely. But it's going to be fun in Spain. But yeah, if I tell you what, Joni, if we have a teleport booth, then, we're going to get you beamed out there because you would really love it and it would give you so much confidence.
Yeah, I think yeah, like I said, that's definitely on my list of something to do. I don't know. We're getting married this year and we're going there, so that's kind of where the money
No,
is
I
at.
know, I know.
I
Listen,
don't know.
I sound like I'm trying to sell it like some kind of salesman. It's not that. I just want to get everybody out there and meet everyone.
I feel like traveling to Europe is almost a lot of times cheaper than within the United States. I mean, when I've looked at flights to go to just like Ireland or Greece or whatever, it's like half of what you'd pay. I mean, I was looking at flights to Ireland just to kind of see comparisons, and it was like half of what our flight to Tennessee will be.
Wow.
So I think in the future, Spain will be a good one. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for meat stock. So if anyone else here is going, that would be, I don't know. I'm
Well,
excited.
I,
It'll be
I
fun.
wish I wish I could come out there as invited, but it's with a family and stuff, it's really difficult to get away. and with my missus working away from the house way more than I do, so it's a difficult one. But yeah, I'd love to come along.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna ask, just because I feel like kind of along the same lines of like the liver flush question, do you have any thoughts on like parasite cleanses? Or how common that I mean, because the liver flush, obviously is kind of a woo-woo thing to a lot of people, but and I feel like parasite cleanses are too, but I've heard more stuff about liver flushes being beneficial or people doing them than I have parasite cleanses. But I don't know, you kind of start looking into it and it seems like there's a lot of people who say, we all have parasites because of how toxic our food and everything is nowadays. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on that.
well, a lot of people seem to say that they've had parasites come out during liver flushes.
Mhm.
Are they parasites though? I mean, they also say that they have them coming out after they use things like bentonite clay and what's the other one? Can't remember. Those binders that they use. Oh, look, it took out parasites. But and I thought that back in the day when I was doing those, and then I realized it was just the clay molding into the shape of the intestine with certain little wiggles to it. And you think, oh, look, there's a worm, and it's actually not. I mean, if you've got a 27-foot tapeworm in your gut, then it might be a good idea to get rid of it. But there are
Mhm.
certain parasites that happen that might not even be harmful, yet we think they are. So then we take loads of stuff like oregano oil and black seed oil and things like that, trying to get rid of them. And yet we're throwing a nuclear weapon into our guts. Not that nuclear weapons actually exist, but put my tinfoil hat on for the moment. Now, if you're putting anyway a huge bomb of any type into the gut, you're not just going to be killing those parasites, are you? You're going to be killing everything else.
Mhm.
And so, how can we tell that it's just killing the particular parasite we want to kill? So, the thing that kind of woke me up to this was looking into something called helminth therapy, where people are actually reintroducing hookworms and then recovering from a load of different issues. And so, how do they do that? By reintroducing a certain amount of parasites. Maybe some of them are beneficial at a certain time. I mean, not to get too graphic. Well, all right, get too graphic. But I remember when I was a kid for a while, for like a month or two, doing these poos in the toilet and looking in them, and there was little wiggly white worms sticking out of all of them. And I thought, that's weird. I'm not even going to tell my parents. And I never did, and it went away, and I never thought about it for the rest of my life. So at some point, somebody might have given me a dewormer and ruined my whole gut integrity. I don't know. So I think that unless there's something that you absolutely know you've got in there, like some massive tapeworm or something, or some parasite like a bot fly that's, the larvae are wiggling around under the skin and causing you distress and sort of septicemia and things, I don't think that we can even guess as to what's going on in the microbiome or you know, the virome, if viruses exist, which they might not, or the parasitome or whatever it's called. I don't know. But I think a lot of these parasite cleanses, unless you really know exactly what's in there that you need to get rid of, I wouldn't bother. I mean, early on in my healing, I remember taking a load of oregano oil, black seed oil, and then this. What was her name? Hulda Clark, The Cure for All Diseases or something. She had this book that it was all parasites. So she had this device, and you held on to it, and it was some electrical device that pumped a certain voltage through your hands, and this was supposed to get rid of parasites. I would sit there every night holding this for hours. I'd take all this dewormers and all the. I don't think it did any good. I mean, at least I never healed in the year after that completely. I only ever healed around 2015 totally when I just cut out absolutely all plant foods and everything else. And I think that if you do that, then the body is going to it's going to regulate whatever parasites, bacteria and fungi, candida and things. People are already always trying to stamp out candida. But if you just stick to a good high fat carnivore diet, it seems to calm down in time. So did the body have some use for that candida in the meantime? Maybe. We've got to get to the root causes rather than all these individual things. So I wouldn't say that all parasites are harmless. Like, if you go to Africa and you get some issue with a water snail in the water and get injected with bilharzia, and you have some sort of an issue with a parasite like that, then yeah, it can be worth getting rid of. But day to day, and just because, I may have done it myself, and you see these articles on parasites, "Oh, I've got to get rid of all the parasites." I mean, I've done probably over 60 liver flushes now. I've never seen anything like a parasite come out, but other people say they do. So whatever needs to come out comes out, because I think that's quite natural. But all these parasite cleanses, I think they're just guesswork. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you still do liver flushes?
No.
No, not anymore.
I think the last one I did was maybe 3, 4 years ago. But sometimes I think maybe I should do one sometime to get rid of a little bit of the brandy out of my liver. But I feel so good. I don't bother with it. But I did for years, and I think they had enormous benefits. But I don't really think about it now. I do actually every new moon. I think, oh, I should think about a liver flush, and I think, "Ah, I can't be bothered." But yes, I think they did me an enormous amount of good for many years. Cool. So anyone else? So Laurie, have you waded through your bowl of muesli yet that you're eating there?
Oh yeah, it's bone broth remnants. So whenever I make bone broth, this stuff comes out, and it's like part meat and part I don't know what it is between the bones, but it's delicious. I don't know if maybe it's that synovial fluid, maybe.
I don't, I don't know. Between the bones, you basically got all the connective tissue and cartilage. But this is great because Joni's amazing. She's an example to all of us. She'll eat anything off the animal. Wipe its ass, knock the horns off. Joni will eat the rest. And that is absolutely brilliant, I think. It's fantastic. The trouble is, then you keep on eating other stuff on top of it.
Hey, I do have like another little question.
I
So,
thought so.
but yeah, so my friend, I was hoping she'd join today, but she's doing the radiation, uh, five 5 days and then another 5 days, and it's like Monday through Friday, 15 minutes of radiation on her back. She's got to lay in, and they said that she'll be paralyzed if she doesn't. That this stuff will grow, and she gave me a couple pictures of these two lady friends have breast cancer, and if you want to see them, I could show them. It is just wow. It looks nuts. But anyway, she said hers didn't look like that. Hers were internal, and these ladies. But anyway, so she has breast cancer, and it metastasized to her spine, and then so she's and the way it works, you have a driver from the Cancer Society will come and pick you up. So it's hard to well, my ride's coming, so because I was so just she said she's so tired and all that, and so you have a driver come pick you up, so it's like hard to say no because they'll be knocking on your door and all that. But anyway, is that killing parasites? Like, is that like what it's supposed to do, or what is cooking the crap out of you? Um, um, but I'm thinking, what is the like kind of the theory to kill the bugs, kill the buggies, is eating your bones in your spine, that were in your breast, and now is
No,
in your.
there's no There's no proof. It's like Anthony says, people say that cancer is caused by parasites. And of all the tumors he's ever seen dissected or tests or ever, there's never one parasite in there. Now, what is the most carcinogenic thing that humans know of?
Fungus,
No.
uh,
Ra-
bacteria.
no. Radiation.
Oh,
And so what are they doing to her? They're piling her full of radiation after a load of fear mongering. I mean, I'm not going to get really deep into why they do this because I think it's absolutely satanic, but it's a really a shame that she's been terrified into doing this because, her best chance really would have been to dry fast for 11 days.
yeah. She said she didn't think she would survive that.
Well, think and the reality is another thing. It's just that we've been told we die, 3 days without water. She'd have been absolutely fine. I mean, maybe she wouldn't have got 11 days. Maybe she'd have got 8, 9, 10. I don't know. But the only thing is to, pull out after if your heart rate goes up over 120 or you get palpitations or something like that. But that is the way to blow stuff like that up. She's got this cancer galloping through her, and their treatment is to give her something that is the most carcinogenic thing that we know of. It's insane. I said,
Yeah,
sorry, it's
yeah,
absolutely insane. And when she came on, I could feel her terror and my heart
yeah,
went out to her so much. And I just, it honestly, it's heartbreaking. And
yeah. She laid on the table and she was crying and saying, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this."
that's her intuition telling her to do that. So, what can I do? I did my best. I'm happy to talk to her. I'm even happy to tell her she can have a consult for free. But the most the most problematic thing is going for these treatments. And then each time you go for one of those treatments, whether it's chemo or radiotherapy or whatever, then it makes it more difficult to heal afterwards.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's gone that fast from the breast to the spine, I can't remember. Was she jabbed?
No, no.
Well, that's real unlucky. Was maybe her partner jabbed or something?
She's divorced.
Okay. All right. Well, these things can happen, but I'm just seeing so much of it now when
Yeah,
people have taken a few of those jabs and
yeah.
well,
Now,
depending on the batch.
yeah, yeah. And when I talked to her, like I asked her, "Well, what are you eating?" And she's telling me she's eating spaghetti with sauce on it. And I thought, oh, that's you need to go into ketosis. And I gave her some bone broth. I gave her some liver bites, which just beef fat and liver and salt and frozen in these little Hershey bar things, which is like, I think they're delicious. Yeah. And yeah, so I just tell her to do ketosis. And because she doesn't think she, and I said 80% of your calories should be fat because the little bugs or whatever, they don't like fat. So you can eat fat and 20% protein. And she said, "You mean protein powder?" And I go, "No, beef or fish." Is
Mm.
what I told her. And but it's hard to wrap your brain around when you get so ingrained into, and other people are telling you, "Oh, have turmeric, have." She's making smoothies. And I said,
Uh,
"What carbohydrates in smoothies?" And she goes, "Probably." And this was probably making it worse.
just again, those smoothies are, they're full of carbs, but they're also full of all sorts of plant toxins, including oxalates. That's how I got all the kidney stones. Um, they're just awful, and yet that's what we get conned into. I only had a few minutes with her, and so I couldn't really give her, what took me about 5 years to figure out, and it's really sad. But I don't know. Some people are, somebody said something, it sounds heartless, but it's not. Some people are supposed to heal, and some people have come here to show us what happens if you don't heal, and
Yeah.
it sounds heartless, but it's not. It's very sad, and depending on where we move on to, and I have no idea. After we die, it might be absolutely fine, and then we realize it was all a game and it's all nonsense, and we're glad to be out of it. So I don't know. But as far as actually also, healing that up, it is very difficult when it starts metastasizing and galloping through the bones. You have to
Yeah.
do
And
everything right. And radiotherapy and turmeric and juicing is not the right way.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And do you think it's fungus? Because when I look at those pictures, I should. Would you like to see the pictures of that breast cancer? Because it kind of looks like it's fungus.
Well, no, tumors often look white.
The what?
Tumors often look white.
Oh, okay. I guess hers are internal.
Yeah, yeah, but so it looks like fungus, and you sort of assume it's fungus, and the people who say it's fungus, then you start to believe them. I don't think it is. It's not fungus. It's just you got to look more microscopically than that. It's a mitochondrial issue. It starts in the nanomotors of the cells in the mitochondria. So that just to say it's a fungus that's invaded, it's not really accurate. Some things, if we're exposed to mold and things like that, it can have an effect, but only because we're weak already. Because since the dawn of time, we've been exposed to all kinds of molds and funguses, and nothing's happened. Sorry, fungi, not funguses. So and nothing's happened. So it's. I think it's just going, more fear mongering down the wrong path. But
Okay. So,
whatever it is, if we take away all the influences that cause us a problem, whether it's diet, light, emotions, environmental toxins, all of that, just take them all away and forget about it and go and have some fun. That's what we used to do ancestrally. And we didn't have any of these issues. So, trust that the body has its own healing modalities, its own healing paths. Because if you start going into all these minutiae, you just end up freaking yourself out. Is it this? I mean, no disrespect to anybody here, because this is exactly what we are all taught. We need to figure out exactly how much fat, exactly how much protein, exactly how much water. Do we need this supplement, that supplement? Am I doing things right? Maybe I should tweak this. Just forget it. There's one really simple thing on the diet level, that there's only one thing that gives us everything we need and nothing we don't. And that's fatty meat from ruminant animals. And to add a little bit of organ meats and stuff, fantastic as our vitamin pill. Then leave the diet alone. Let's look at other stuff. What are you experiencing in your life? Which stresses, which emotional blocks do you have? Are you using some horrible chemical around the house to clean the toilets, or the floor, or your hair? Are you having loads of blue light at night that's stopping you sleeping and healing? All of these things. Are you ever grounded? Are you ever attached to the ground to exchange those ions with the planet? All of these things. You get those sorted, and then things tend to come back online, and you don't have to worry about all these little individual concerns. Like, am I taking in enough turmeric? I mean, over the last several thousand years, how many Inuit do you think worried about their turmeric intake?
zero.
Exactly. They never even heard of it. They've never seen it. So there we go. And I think, cancer, to me, I believe it's a healing process. I believe it sort of encapsulates toxins in a certain part of the body to stop them spreading to other parts, which is why biopsies often make it worse. So then if you take away that issue, then they can focus on that point. I mean, I've seen it in my mother. how quickly the breast tumor reduced when we got it right. I mean, it was almost like overnight almost. When cancer goes, the tumors just vanish so quickly when you get it right. But it's just getting it right, and when it's
And what did you do for your mom?
it was just a well, she had breast cancer and it was just a fully carnivore diet and an iodine protocol because often if it's hormonal, it can be to do with iodine and halides and that kind of thing. So that's all we did, and it just shrank right back. It's on my YouTube channel. You can see the pictures of it. The skin coming back to normal when it was almost ulcerating through the skin. It's a really shadow banned video actually. It's been out there I think since 2017, 18. And I thought that, with the title, clickbaity title, it's going to have thousands, millions of views. I think it's still on about 3,000. It's very difficult to find, even if you put slightly the wrong search in for it. But you can see it disappearing. And it did very quickly.
Wow.
But you won't find it.
I looked at your stuff and that never showed up.
I think it's called Carnivore Diet, Breast Cancer Reversing, Shocking Pick Warning. You have to
Shocking
put
what?
shocking pick warning. I think you have to put practically the whole thing in before it comes up. All right, I'll search for it and I'll put it in the link because it's difficult to find. But I've just seen this so many times and cancer disappearing very, very fast when you get it right. I'm not saying I'm an expert in it. I got really lucky on this one, but I've seen it since happening. And of course, Sophia at Paleomedicina, she gets all kinds. Right, let me see if I can find it.
Thank you for doing that.
I even have to search for it myself with exactly the right. Okay, I found it.
Nice.
Uh,
Ramadan returns each year.
right. Okay, I'll put it in the chat, the link, and you can have a look. There it is. That was from a talk I gave about carnivore diet to like health professionals and docs or something.
If you're a bit squeamish,
Yeah, there you go. Somebody's called it up. I remember the
Yeah,
word.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
me.
But that was
Wow.
that was the one. And I remember putting it out, and the guy who was doing my YouTube channel at the time said, you got to split it up into little videos, don't just put it out as one big hit. And I was going, no, no, you should always put it out as the whole talk. And anyway, it was interesting that he did split it up because that was one of them. And then I thought that's going to get loads of views with that clickbaity title and cancer reversal. But no, they squash it down because they don't want cancer reversals there. But then I had one called Myths About Meat or something for the same talk. Boring title, nothing much in there, everything we all know. And suddenly, within about 2 weeks, it got 250,000 views. And I remember before Ken Berry even started his channel, he popped up on it going, great info on this one and stuff. And now, look, I was going, who's this? Oh, Ken Berry. It looks interesting. I didn't even know who he was at the time. And he hadn't really started his channel properly. And that went massive. And yet, this is what we contend with. It's very difficult to get this information out there because it gets
Yeah,
shadow banned.
I'm glad you said. I looked through your stuff before and I never saw this. So this is. I can't wait to watch this. Yeah, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. It's only like a couple of minutes long or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I've talked about it. I've talked about it in much more detail on some of the other talks I've done.
yeah. Well,
Um,
is this like the whole thing? Like it's just a piece of it, but the whole thing where you talk about this is myths about meat.
no, there's a playlist with that video in. I think the talks from the what was it called? World Health Innovation Summit or something, 2017. or 2018 or something. I can't remember. But there's a few videos in there, but I've talked about it more on recent podcasts. You know, my ones with Anthony, and I did one with Anthony last week. Actually, did you see it?
No.
That was funny. I went off on some proper rants on that one.
I
Anthony's very sweet because quite
yeah.
often, you know, I earn no money at this really because of speaking out against the COVID thing early 2020. I've been horribly shadow banned all of my social media, so I don't get much reach. And I used to get you before that, I'd get people sort of emailing me for consults and that kind of thing. And now, pretty much the only time I get an email saying, "Can I have a consult?" is it always starts with, "I saw you on Anthony Chaffee's channel." And so he's got so much reach now that every time, you know, my bank accounts get low or something, I say to Anthony, "Can I pop on your channel? We'll have another rant about autoimmunity or something." So, and he's always so sweet. He goes, "Yeah, sure." So we did one last week. It's on his channel. You know, he just put it out last week. But we got into some really weird stuff, actually. He had to censor some of it because it would have had his channel pulled.
Well,
But
maybe you put it on yours and put the whole thing on there, or put it on your Substack.
no, because it still come out as is, you know. But we just got into the whole transgender issue and you know pushing puberty blockers on kids and having people coming in talking about how it's okay to you know identify as a cat and shit in a litter tray in the classroom and all of this weird stuff that's going on at the moment. And afterwards, he said, we really got into it actually. And afterwards, he said, actually, I might have to cut that bit. And I said, I thought you might have to. So, so
All right.
that bit was cut out. But
Okay. So you think cancer is just your mitochondria um, not doing the Randall cycle, or the but is the mitochondria messing up?
well, the Randall cycle is kind of part of it. In fact, I've also yeah in a um, yeah again Tuesday or something. I've got that interview with Abs coming out. And I did actually ask him to explain to 5-year-olds what the Randall cycle is. And he said, "You mean you, don't you?" And I said, "Yes," because I'm useless at that kind of scientific stuff. I just know that carbs should not be eaten with fats, right? Because it doesn't occur in nature. So this is basically the problem with the Randall cycle. So, you know, if the cell sort of uptakes fat, then it can't uptake carbs and vice versa. So that's the problem with the Randall cycle. But it's not that's not you know you upset that, then you can get mitochondrial dysfunction because it's all down to the mitochondria in the cells. And if you get mitochondrial dysfunction, then you're risking cancer. It's simple as that, really. But it's not like all about the Randall cycle. No, there's other things.
Hey,
I'll let Abs explain that one. He's much brighter than me.
Abs,
Dr. Abs.
Dr. Abs?
Yeah. You don't know Dr. Abs?
No,
Oh wow. Okay. He's
never
amazing.
heard of Dr. Abs.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
Utterly
so
brilliant.
he's on your channel somewhere. Like you
Um, well, I haven't got his talks from Spain last year. It was so funny. They were so brilliant, these talks. I mean, Mary Ruddick, as you probably know, is one of my absolute heroes. And she was so funny. She, after Abs's talk, she made a little video for her Instagram. And I saw it while I was in Spain. We saw it and when she went straight back to her room. And she had like a stain on her shirt. And she said, I was so impressed, so blown away with Abs's talk. I lost all control of bodily fluids. And I'm going to have to completely rethink my talk. And her talk, I put her talk up there. It's out there now, but and she's amazing. But it was the science in Abs's one absolutely blew everyone away. But I think actually the only video I actually have of Abs at the moment up there is when Eris, my friend, the sound engineer there, I asked him to make Abs's voice sound like a chipmunk so that when I passed him the mic at the beginning of his talk, he sounded like a chipmunk, and when it was passed back to me, it was perfectly normal. So I was like, I don't know what's happening. So that's the only one. But as soon as I can, because there's some conflict with a film that he's making and which parts of the talk they wanted to use for this film, this carnivore film that's coming out. So I have to wait for that before I put his talks up. But good luck understanding it. I mean, I was there in the room and I only understood about 1% of it. I think Mary probably only understood about 20% of it, and she still lost control of bodily fluids. So, but no, Abs is amazing. I can't say how much this guy has helped everybody out in the carnival community. I mean, he's younger than my eldest son, who was also there in Spain, and we all had horrendous pranks, that we were playing on each other. Abs is brilliant, but it's just so generous. I mean, I can't tell you how generous this guy is. He's made an enormous amount of money. He's got a whacking great sort of 4x4 thing. He's got two Ferraris. He's got a beautiful apartment in Canary Wharf. He never wants me to talk about that. And now he's just bought what's practically a mansion, sort of halfway up England. He's incredibly clever, and but so generous with it. Absolutely humble. I can't say enough about Abs. He's amazing. So check out the podcast with him. It'll be out on Tuesday. He's wonderful. But we had to take down our real comedy ones because he got threatened, by this medical board. So he had to behave himself or he was going to be disciplined.
Wow.
But I did. We were going to do a series every month, and there's only three of them out there now. They are kind of on a, well, I will change them from private to unlisted. So if you find out the ones on Substack saying Dr. Abs and I are at it again or something, you can see the links on my Substack, and I'll change them to unlisted so that as long as then my members here can see them. But they are quite hilarious, as long as you don't mind a load of absolute nonsense and toilet humor. But he's a lot of fun.
Okay. Is he the one that you said explains the random cycle real simply? Or is that Anthony Chafee?
No, Abs can explain anything scientific about biochemistry, really simply or really complicated. He's yeah.
Okay, because I listened to Bart Kay explain the random cycle.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
have,
Abs knows him and he has huge respect for him. Yeah.
yeah, well, I couldn't follow Bart Kay because he didn't have his um,
Teddy.
the visuals. He didn't have the visuals lined up, so he was talking like these real tough terms, and if he had his visuals up, I could have followed it. But
No, look, you see, I just distill it in the real simplistic form that a drummer can understand, right? The Randall cycle and how to watch out for triggering it, very, very simple. Don't eat carbs and fats together. Preferably don't eat carbs at all. And there you go. You don't need to understand the Randall cycle.
ah,
That's it. It's just that simple. But
wow,
yeah, but obviously, if you want to delve into it, go for it. But yeah,
wow, wow, and you think that's what most people eat all the time: cookies and cupcakes and
you think of any addictive food. Any addictive food has carbs and fats in it. Pizza, chips, crisps, whatever you call them, uh, ice cream, chocolate, cookies. It's all carbs and fats. It's
yes,
all overly addictive. It ruins our leptin signaling, which tells us when we're full, or it's supposed to, the hormone leptin. And if you bypass that or confuse it, that's it. You just end up stuffing yourself because you just never want to stop eating. So if you look in nature, carbs and fats only occur in milk, which is only really useful up until you're weaned, and a little bit in some nuts around autumn, but not really in anything else. If you get fruit, it's got carbs in it, but no fat. If you got an animal, it's got fat in it with protein and no carbs. So nature doesn't mix carbs and fats, except in breast milk or, any animal, any species milk, when that animal is supposed to grow up extremely fast from a small animal to a large animal. But then past weaning, that can cause problems. So you don't really want dairy. So it just look at nature. It's that simple, you know. And you're right. Most of every single meal that everybody eats in the West is a mixture of carbs and fats.
And then for dessert, ice cream.
Yeah,
You know,
which is a mixture of carbs and fats. You know,
yes.
dairy, if you're lucky. Usually it's a whole load of frozen seed oils of some sort and some sort of sugar. So that's it. Yeah, doesn't exist in the wild. It's
Wow.
real simple, you know. All of the
Wow.
biochemistry about this is fascinating. Listening to Abs or, you know, Jack Cruz or Anthony or whatever, um, or Bart K. But you don't need to know that. It's just helpful if you have that scientific mind and you need the confidence to understand it instead of just looking at nature and going, hey, you know, it's that easy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I
that's
never put that together. What you just said, I never. Uh, yeah, so you made that real clear, and that was very helpful. Yes.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I listened to Bart. Yeah, never registered, but when you said, I appreciate the simplicity and you know condensing it.
Yeah, well, I listen to Bart K mostly for his creative swearing and insults because he seems to have an endless vocabulary of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like listening to Vinnie Colaiuta on the drums. He never runs out of ideas. Bart K never runs out of insults and ways,
Yeah.
ways to swear at vegans, and that's why I listen to Bart. I mean, I love him; he's a good friend, but
Yeah.
he just entertains me so much.
Yeah, there is a guy that he interviewed, and he was talking about how the Chinese they ate rice, and then they got real healthy because they ate rice, and then and I've heard that all the time too. So everyone needs to eat rice because it's like this incredible health food. And then Bart King said, which I never know this, he said that they were coming out of a famine, so they were starving to death. And then they had rice, which made them not starve. So yeah, they were slender. And they were getting some health back. Yeah. They're like, oh, I never, yeah. So that's a
Well,
game changer.
it's not only that; it's just people always say, well, people from China or Japan, you know, they eat a load of rice and they're really healthy. Well, number one, they don't eat as much rice as you think. They've got, you know, a load more meat on the plate, and rice is a bit more of a side dish. So it's not the basis for everything, like your regular fat guy in a Indian restaurant or Chinese restaurant putting a load of rice down, then slopping a little bit of stuff on the top. It's not like that. But also, um, people from that Asian people, they don't have so many fat cells. And so they appear to be more slender, and yet they will get diabetic at a much lower body weight than a Westerner will. So there's a high incidence of diabetes out there, but at a lower body fat percentage. Because it's not about how actually fat you are, it's about how the cell can no longer take in any more nonsense. And so it gets sort of maxed out. The fat cells get maxed out. If you've got 10% of the fat cells that somebody else has, you're going to get diabetes or some metabolic issue at a far lower body weight than your friend. So
Wow.
this is what happens with Asian people. They appear to not be so fat, but they get sick at a low, they get metabolically sick, like diabetes, for example, at a much lower body weight than most Westerners. So it's a bit of an illusion, really, that they're healthier.
Yeah.
There might not be so many 400-pound people walking around in Japan and China, but that doesn't mean to say they're not sick.
Hmm.
There
Wow,
we
that's a good point. Thank you so much for that. That was very helpful. Yeah, thank you very
It's
much.
funny, isn't it? That kind of thing. I thought everybody kind of twigged that, but they don't. I just must listen to more podcasts than everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
You're welcome.
I do like a little comment. I don't know if you have, maybe it's like off topic, just to mention it, but the war that's going on in Iran. Yeah, I was glued to that, including me. And uh, this environmental, like you can't have plastic straws, because environment, and then you try to reduce the oil and gas because of environment. Now they're just blowing up ships full of oil in the ocean and blowing up everything, and just unprovoked, it appears.
The war's not about that. It's no war's ever been about that. It's all to
Not
do.
funny.
It's all to do with the fact
Right.
if you look at the countries that won't get onto the Rothschild banking system, the
Yep.
petrodollar thing, then they go and attack them, you know?
Yeah, it is
I
so sad.
just checking out my snake bite. I'll just show off. See that?
Wow.
I got a
Why?
snake, I got a snake bite today.
Why did your snake? Those are from your pet.
No, well, it was a feeding accident. That's when it usually happens. When you sort of give the mouse in the wrong way or the rat. But I'm usually conscious of the other two because they got teeth, because one's a python and one's a boa constrictor. And yet my daughter tried to feed the corn snake, like a mouse, and put it at the wrong angle. And so it kind of went mad looking for it, and it started striking at hands and all sorts. It missed my daughter. And then I was going in to sort of move the mouse to pick it up and give it back to it. And I put my forearm up like that because I thought its mouth's too small. A corn snake can't bite like that, and they don't have any teeth anyway. And so I put my forearm up to stop it biting, you know. So I thought if it does bite, I mean, I've tried to get this one to bite me for like 3 years just as a joke because they hardly have any teeth, corn snakes. But then it did give me a wallop today, and I thought, well done. It's actually got quite a big sort of gape on its mouth, and it did actually make it bleed. So I just sort of wiped it up and put a bit of iodine on it, and it's fine. But yeah, snake bite today. There we go. That's my first one for years. The kids have been bitten a couple of times because they're not so good at feeding them, but I never thought this particular one would bite or that it had any particular teeth when it did. But it was
Yeah,
quite
and they're not poisonous, so you don't have to worry about no poison going in, right?
well. If I suddenly die before the end of the call,
They will know it was poison.
no, no. I think you can see how easily accidents happen, right? Don't keep poisonous snakes. It's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah, so true, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for all that. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm waffling on about load of nonsense tonight.
Oh no,
Rob,
I appreciate it.
you're welcome. Rob, how you doing? You're muted there at the moment. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Hello, mate.
Hey, Phil, how are you? Do you have a karate to run off to, or can I ask you questions?
Yeah, well, I've got till about 25 past.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
as long as I don't die from this snake bite, meantime.
You're a braver or more foolish man than me. I'm not sure which. Snakes freak me out, man.
I love them. I've had them all my life. They're great.
Well, my son and I were stacking wood the other day in our backyard, and I saw this big tail. And my son's sick, so I grab him and put him behind me. I'm like, that's a snake, buddy. Watch out. We went and got our little snake handling tool, and I see her, buddy. Sorry, my daughter and my adopted daughter. Anyways, I moved some piece of wood around, and it wasn't a snake; it was a big lizard.
Okay.
And my son thought that was so cool. He said it was his favorite thing ever. And
Nice.
then one of my chickens ran over and mauled it to bits. And Atticus just started crying his eyes out. And then, I'm trying to explain life and death to him at that point. And the chicken starts scratching at the dirt and flicks a snake out of the wood pile.
Oh, right.
So there was a snake in there, and then the chicken ate that. So, anyways,
This is
all
the
I'd say,
thing. If people don't understand, do they? Oh, I've got this corn-fed chicken. I've got no, they're absolute monsters. They're dinosaurs. They'll eat
oh my
anything.
goodness. Yeah. I threw a bunch of eggs, like cooked eggs and cooked peas. I wasn't eating the peas. My kids think they like them. And I threw them out there and the chickens picked around the peas and ate all the cooked eggs, which is kind of scary if you think about it. But I did it with raw meat yesterday too. I threw out a bunch of old peppers and stuff, and the chickens didn't eat it. They went and ate all the raw meat.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, they will. You give them,
fascinating stuff.
you give chickens a roast chicken. They love
Yeah,
it.
they'll go for it, man.
So
They'll
yeah,
go
totally.
for it.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'll ask you a few maybe kind of rapid fire questions. You might be able to answer some of these and pretty quickly. And also, I mean, I know that your comment about people who overthink things was definitely pointed toward me. Um, answers to your questions below, Rob. Smiley face. But yeah, so and Joseph, I gotta give Joseph a shout out because he's in the same position often, Phil. He made the mistake of giving me his number a long time ago, and he's he's been super helpful for me figuring out and troubleshooting things. And he's not 7 hours different than me like you are. He's only 1 hour, one
Okay,
hour different.
Joseph, we have a competition. See who can go
Ah,
longest without telling Rob to fuck off. We've had enough of you, Rob. Nah, you carry on asking, Rob. It's cool.
oh no, don't
All
abandon
right,
me.
man.
Not so soon. Um, so this one might be easy enough, but the difference between like ground beef and whole cuts. So it's like Joseph said, it's really hard to get whole cuts that are ground fed without selling your firstborn here in America. And um, so ground beef is kind of like the better option. So I found this 75-25 grass-fed finished ground beef, nothing else added. But I think it still would need a little bit of fat added. So basically my questions are, how do you like, is it better to have like whole cuts versus ground, or does it not matter? And then when you're doing ground beef, how do you eyeball how much fat you would need to add, or what because I know 25 grams to 100 or 35 grams of fat to 100 grams of lean meat. But if you're eating a fatty cut, how do you eyeball? I mean, I'm just not so good at it yet. And then ground beef, obviously, you can't really see all the distinctions in my opinion, but
Okay, Rob, here's the thing. You know when you got ground beef and you got those individual little bits like that big, right? You take each one out and you slice the fat off. No, I don't. You, what you gotta do, man? What you gotta do? I mean, if you got some ratio like 20-80 or 25-75 or whatever it is, you just got to kind of believe them, yeah? And then just add a bit of extra tallow to cook it in. I think actually that ground beef is probably in many ways better than whole cuts because you get everything in there. They throw everything in there. And people go, "Ooh, you've got this in there and that in there." Yeah, great. It's the kind of thing that you'd never normally eat. So it's more healthy. The only downside I can think of with ground beef is that if you are sensitive to histamines, then quite often that can be a problem, you know? But that's all. And most people aren't usually, and it clears up anyway in time. But I would say just, add a bit of extra tallow and fry it up and or make burgers
That's
out of it. And yes,
that's
Joni.
I was just gonna say that's what I do because lately the only thing that sounds good to me at all has been ground beef. But typically that's what I do. I like to add the tallow in while it's cooking because I feel like then it doesn't have so much of a tallow-y flavor. And just depending on how I'm feeling, I'll eat it sort of soon after when it's still warm, or I'll just wait till it gets cold and then eat it that way. But to me, that's like a better way to eyeball it. is like how much liquid is in the pan because I like 75-25 if I could find it, and then I just add enough to it. So
Yeah. Okay, Joseph says I usually support better. You mean get on better with the histamine from ground beef, but not from roast beef in slow cooking? Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because, the ground beef isn't necessarily always older, but slow cooking, then yeah, you've got that sort of long time of cooking. So yeah, exactly what Joni said. Yeah. Joni, you can take over these calls. I've had enough. You know.
So you
Do.
bring up my
You do
second.
actually. Right. Sorry, that was my alarm to go and get my son, but I've got another 5 minutes. Quick, Rob. Quick fire
Yeah,
one.
so you bring up the second question is kind of how do you know if you've got a histamine problem or not? You know, I don't feel like my symptoms have. I'm about 5.5 months into carnivore, 4 months into ruminant only. I'm about a month into the 2-to-1 fat ratio, and I'm about 2 weeks into no supplements. So we're getting there slowly but surely.
So how do you
Uh,
sort out the histamine issue? Franca, tell him. She knows. You're muted though.
Itchy skin. Yep. Constantly, like your skin just feels like it's crawling.
okay.
Your head, the back of your ears, your throat too. Like sometimes you'll feel like you've got something there, and you're constantly like trying to like clear your throat. I have a problem with that. So
Okay.
I'm just taking an antihistamine when it gets too much for me to control.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Think of what would people would take an antihistamine for, right? Allergies, hay
Yeah.
fever, that kind of thing. And as Frank says, the skin issues. So any sort of irritants, itchiness, cough, runny nose, itchy eyes, that kind of thing.
Does it
Okay.
disappear after a while, Phil? Does the histamine reaction disappear or not?
I've heard that it does, yeah. Like any
Oh,
other histamine reaction, it's like, I was talking to, again on that podcast, I was talking to Abs, and I had the same thing as him for like 48 years. He's obviously nowhere near that old anyway now, but streaming hay fever. So he couldn't even see during hay fever season. And having gone carnivore, it just disappears. So, this happens a lot. Yeah.
So it's less of a symptom flare that would indicate and more of like an allergy
Yeah.
kind of reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Because yeah, I've heard that broth can cause it or like ground beef and leftovers even I've
Yeah.
heard can.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
that's helpful. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Thank you, Franco.
Or, crunching out cornflakes like Laurie's eating there.
Lori's always eating and it really makes me want to go eat something.
Laurie's amazing. She eats more. She's like the TARDIS inside. I think Laurie could eat absolutely anything. She could eat like half a cow in a day. Quite
That's
incredible.
I don't think she's ever been on a call that I've been on and not been eating something. And
I
I'm
know.
looking around and I'm like, I need to go get some food right
Yeah,
now.
I'm trying to gain weight.
I
Yeah,
see. I know
yeah.
it's incredibly rude, and if it wasn't on my calls, she'd get thrown off. I don't mind what Laurie does on my calls. She can do anything she wants.
yeah, I am totally with Gloria as well. It's too difficult to get weight. Yeah, I am not sure. I am just losing and losing weight as well.
It is for a while during that time, and then it comes back on. Now I'm actually thinking I should actually drop fat levels and really start doing some weights and things because now I am actually putting on weight really easily. Whereas 2022, I lost 45 pounds that I couldn't afford to lose. It stayed off for about a year and then gradually came up again. But now I'm actually putting on weight really quickly. And I think, hold on a minute, let's hold back on the fat levels because past a certain point, those PKD ratios can keep the fat levels up. But I'm like, what am I? What's 12 stone? Which is 10 stone is 140. So 12 stone is like 160, 70 pounds. And I was down to like 120 in 2022, really scrawny. But now the gut's healed. I'm feeling amazing. And um, I'm thinking, yeah, I need to actually get ripped again because I've got some fat over my abs now. I can't see them anymore. And it's like, I haven't changed what I eat. Listen, guys, all you guys out there worrying about losing too much weight during that healing phase, stop it. Do you understand? Stop it. If you're eating good fatty meat, you're getting enough nutrition and you're healing the gut. Don't worry. Oh, I'm getting too skinny. I need to add in far more donuts to my diet to get the weight back on again. No, you don't. There's very few people that can eat as many donuts and crunching out cornflakes as Laurie. Right? Right. Right, guys. Unless there's a real quick emergency question, I've got to leg it to go get Peter from Taekwondo. And yes, I shall post this. And there was something I was supposed to post underneath. No, there wasn't because I already put it in the chat, didn't I? What was it? It was something about, oh yeah, the breast cancer thing. Okay. Well, if anyone's listening to this on the replay and I forget to put that up, just breast cancer, Phil Escott, breast cancer, carnivore, reversing breast cancer, shocking pick warning. Put something like that in, it will come up with it. So complicated, but that's the algorithm. They do not like cancer reversals. Anyway, Rebecca, you've been there for ages and I've tried to have a chat and I'd love to know because it's the first time on. So the mystery Rebecca Brown and everybody else, lots of love. I'll see you next time.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Take care.